Hi and welcome to another edition of the monthly photo critique of the Kgalagadi Wildlife Photography Competition of 2021. This is the July selection of the finalists and the critique. So it's become very popular, and we're going to extend the photo critique into a new membership level, and where you get a more advanced or in-depth look at the photo critique in another episode, but more about that now. The selection process will be towards the end of this video, and between the end, the photo critique, and now just a couple of interesting announcements. Number one is we've got an exciting new prize sponsor for the 2022 photographic competition. It is a photographic dealer, photographic and related equipment dealer, one of the biggest in South Africa. They're joining us and come on board to actually make the prizes even bigger in 2022. Then we've got exciting news about online coaching and mentoring and tutoring sessions. We've got on our website, kgalagadiphotography.com and joeladegan.com. We've got a range of courses that you can select over a year. And then we've got a range of short courses or 1 hour to 1 year mentorship programs. You can also get that on the website. And that 1 hour is very interesting product in that it makes it flexible for you as the photographer to, if you're on your way to the Kgalagadi, for instance, or to the Kruger Park, wherever. But let's take the Kgalagadi, for instance. You on your way and you want to prepare, you've never been there. The 1 hour coaching on travel and related information, where to stay, what to eat, how to travel, safety tips and so on will be given to you, as well as anything photographic related. So if you're in the Kgalagadi even, you can book a 1 hour coaching session from the Kgalagadi Lodge if the Wi-Fi is strong enough at that stage. You can come out and edit, and we can have a photo critique, basically one-on-one. And so that's exciting tutoring programs and mentorship programs. The one long one is a mentorship program that runs over 1 full year, and it takes in consideration everything. We do a SWOT analysis of anything that we do from a tutoring point of view. We identify where you stand as a photographer, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats that you have in your genre of photography, and then we set goals for you as a photographer, and we monitor that over a year period, and we bring in all the academical stuff, photographic related. So that's that. Remember the prizes of the competition and the range of 80,000 rands worth of prizes. It's all on the website, and we'll put it up again in this week to follow on the Facebook page. And then we want to remind you that we do the production of the photo critique or the selection of the finalist of the month. And we upload it on the YouTube channel, Joe's Camera, first. So it'll only be available on the YouTube channel, Joe's Camera, and then a week or 2 weeks after that, we'll post that on Facebook as well. But the YouTube channel, Joe's Camera, will receive preference when it comes to the photographic competition and the content that we produce around that. Let me quickly see what else there is. We've introduced an exciting new level in Joe's Camera of a membership. Remember, if you like the video, and please share it and tell your friends about it, or the content. And what we have is we have a membership on Joe's Camera level 1, where you pay 39 Rand a month, and you get all the content that you get currently, anything from a long film that took 15 years to make and a lot of money, and then some additional content. So members will get additional content. We'll take, for instance, this photo critique. When I finish with this, I go into more detail and give a bit more tutoring in coaching, and that will be available only for the members of Joe's Camera. So we'll extend it. We'll just produce, everything stays the same, everything that you've received as a subscriber, but as a member, we're going to create extra content specifically just for you. Just see, and that's just about everything. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the tutoring, not the tutoring, the photo critique of July 2021. Let me quickly just go through the images. I'll just put them in groups of 3 lines that you can see. I can immediately see there's much more creativity when it comes to the editing and selecting black and white, and composition-wise. You can actually see with time how the people are getting creative. You can see how hard some people are working to actually improve. I've done just an example of where black and whites would have worked better than color for you. Just a quick glance over the thumbnails of Elder Entrance that you can see if you can, at a glance, pick up what stands out. Normally, in a group like this, one can pick up the exceptional ones. Okay, and there we go. And that's the first. The second judgment is a folder that I've created over here, and that all it is we put a group of photos in there, and then from there we do the finalist. What I want to say is that as the majority of the images of this month, or there could have been, I think 50% more in the second judgment images when the people, if you have just complied with some of the basic principles like sharpness. Some of the guys have compressed and girls have compressed the image so bad that you can't judge them. If you look at them on a thumbnail or on Instagram and on Facebook, it'll look good, but that's the difference between a photographic competition and your social media post. Social media, you can crop just about 20th of the image and select the best, push the saturations and put it on Instagram, and it looks like a super photographer. But a photo competition requires you to actually expand, and what we require is that your pixels be the size that we can print it to at least a A1. So if we can't print it a A1, we might go to a A2 if it's exceptional, but the A1 is the measurement for your pixels. And remember, if you compress it too much, we can't judge it because I don't know whether the picture is sharp or not. So that's not really an excuse. And a lot of the images, that's been the big throwdown or let down. And the second one or the first one is editing, the editing capability. And you cannot just enter an image, whether it's Franz Lanting or the world's top photographers, you have to work at that image. If you didn't have to work at the image and change either the color or increase the color or the hueness or the hue or the saturation or the luminosity, then the cameras can go out and do a photographic competition. It is art, and it requires that 12 inches behind the camera to produce a piece of art, and that's your brain. And just two things is you can't teach creativity and you can't teach genius. It's the two things you can't create. But you can build on it. You can teach your eye. Your eye can get better. And one of the best learning schools there is in the world with photography, it's photo critique. I mean, just a question, if you're not a self-aware person that are very critical on yourself, you can never improve as a photographer. So I've never had critique, although you enter competitions like this. And a competition, why competition is valuable, and we all go through that at some stages, is the fact that people are honest, are honest about your work. And if you don't get a judgment or a critique on your work, how can you grow? So you need to go through and watch thousands of perfect images every month to subconsciously enter that in the mind, so that hopefully you get your finger to do exactly what you see in the mind's eye. So photo critique is the only thing that tells you what is wrong with your picture. It tells you what people are looking for, because it's someone that look at, although it is subjective. A lot of photo competitions, you can hear the judges keep on saying it's subjective. I tell you that this is good, but you can do what you want, and it's not really true. It's not being honest. It's not being an honest critique. What I want to be is an honest critique, so that you can grow. It takes years and years and years and years and years to build up an eye, to consider all the compositional foundations and all the other things from a photographic point of view. So a photo critique is the number one way of growing as a photographer. Let's get into the images. So I'm going to quickly go through from the bottom, and There'll be, I keep on saying, there'll be a more in detail discussion of some of the images here for the guys that subscribe and become members on the follow-up production. Here, for instance, we've got a beautiful, Simon Smith has done a beautiful color sunset. Look at the colors, the range of colors. I like the out of focus grasses. It's not a mushy, mushy bunch of grasses. It is still textured and it's soft textured, and you got the layer of the grass out of focus. Then you got the layer where the gemsbok is in, and then you got this larger layer or band of same colors. Then you got this gold band going through the horns, and then you got the upper layer with that dot, dot, dot on top. So a very balanced composition. The only thing that one can improve here is the subject. And wildlife photography is basically all about the subject. Where a photographer like this does this, you can see that the eye is good, the eye is there, and all that can improve now is the subject matter. So if you take the background and the foreground that Simon's got over here, you can take a world-class winner if the subject performs. In other words, if that two gemsbok hit each other and they hit each other full on and there was some dust in there, I think that could have been an international winner. But because of this guy just walking, it's got a head down stance, it's not really proud, and it balances to some degree the subject matter on the right to the left, but it's not a typical image. If that was a mirror image, it would have been better. So this subject over here is detracting a bit from the overall scene. But once again, the weakness that everyone's got, and that is is the background. The background in the Kalahari and the game reserves are the biggest destroyer of good images. And where you got a background like this, you really got the backdrop for an international winner when it comes to wildlife photography. Just picture this background with just one camel thorn tree in part of this image. Gemsbok, this is repetitive patterns. The triangle is one of the strongest foundational compositions or foundational compositions in an image, and here you got 1, 2, 3 basic triangles that repeats itself, and then one on the right hand side. So repetitive shapes and patterns in the same distance with a flow like this is a very nice image. So this 3 on its own would have been beautiful, but that is a very clean backdrop, and it just fills the frame on the right hand side. Beautiful portrait that you can stick up anywhere. Portrait of the cheetah, beautiful, sharp. Look at that eyes. The thing that really makes the cheetah the exceptional hunter full speed is that eyes. Look how big they are, like an owl's eyes. And you require that to make dodges to the left and the right with a fast running springbok. Beautiful, once again, the cheetahs overlooking from the concrete outcrops of the riverbeds. And I've got a whole family of cheetah overlooking, very successful. Looks like the mother and 4 cubs, and they've grown up. I don't know what's happened with them, if they all survived. The problem with this image is that you can see that the hue is completely wrong. There's something wrong with the greenish, yellowish hue, although there are some fungi on it, or lichen. It's not the color that it should be. So the editing of this image, I don't know how much it's been cropped. The color in front here is a bit off-putting. But if you take that line of the cheetah down there with a white in the background, you could have done quite a lot with the editing of this image as well. But an exceptional capture of a big family of cheetah. The black and white here, the black and white of Ricky Vandrach. She's got this one and that one. And once again, the black and white needs to be worked on here. There's much room for improvement for editing. Beautiful portraits, and once again, that's the big one. Composition wise, it could have framed that a bit better, but it's good. Peter de Villiers, once again, one of our regular entrants, has done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This image is over here, and you can look at it from here. You can see how well it's composed. Look at all the clean backdrops that Peter has got. The owl, nothing in the back. The jackal, the lion, it's clean. Good by selecting a black and white of this ostrich. and I like his artistic rendition of this battalier as well. In the detailed critique, I'll explain why this one and some of that. But what happened with Peter is, of course, this image has got a lot of speckles, and you can despeckle that. But I've discovered that sometimes the speckling in the image, specifically in this type of image and the images that Gerard produces, the fine art images, is that it just basically enhances. So don't be too bothered about the speckling or the noise if the image is artistic and the image is correct. So here it works to me. The speckling I wouldn't remove because it renders it into an artistic type of image. The ostrich over here, I love the black and white. I like the vignetting on, and the framing also does a lot on the image, although we don't judge the framing. I love the black and white of this ostrich, and it's. I don't think the editing of the black and white is perfect. I think there's room for improvement over there, but the selection and the composition is beautiful of a different angle of the ostrich. Line, I don't like that expression of the line. It's not how I want to see line. I think that is a yawn. One can see whether it's an aggressive facial expression of a line. That is not. The jackal, there's something wrong with the light in the jackal. I don't quite know. It looks like it's been the image, the shadows have been pushed, or the exposure has been increased, and therefore you got that white background. Although I think if you take this very image and you turn it into a black and white, this image would be 50% better than this. So this is a typical image I would have done a black and white in. The L, beautiful L, but there's something wrong with the pixels over here. We've lost some of the detail of and the fall of the L. Here we've got interesting. You've got a range of images of the battalier, quite a popular subject in the Kgalagadi. The battalier at the water holes, they're either drinking or they're flying, and it is one of those subjects that one must look out for, that it doesn't become boring. There's so many of them, but that's said on the one hand. On the other hand, if you keep on trying, something funny or something exceptional can happen. What happens here is a pin-sharp image and well composed, and you got what we call overlapping at the back. If you look at that dark shady area, the wings are overlapping that, and that plays with the eye. It's not perfect. That's not what you want. Although the majority of this image is exposed, you got the water all frozen, and you got the two pigeons. That one over here, you can see that he's been in the water. It's not that aesthetic, but over here is a difference. This Pete Boyson's got this right, and once again, the previous image that I said, it's the backdrop is, or the subject is overlapping a dark, similarly dark backdrop, and it doesn't stand out. What you have here is you have also a dark backdrop, but you have the light edge lines and you have that light reddish back, and you still have the subject that stand out from the background. And the background in this instance, what makes it interesting is the blue wildebeest body and the legs at the water hole. So that just, I wouldn't expect it that it would look better than a clear image, but this is a wild image. It's wild antelope at the back, it's at a water hole, and the posture of this battalier is a bit different than all the others, and look at that eyes. Both of the eyes are looking 100% straight into the lens of this photographer. So there's something in this image that talks to me. Interesting image of the goma and the little worm. I don't know whether that worm was eaten, if it eats that, but it shows the small predators of the Kgalagadi, the agama and the insects, and so typical of the Kgalagadi, and we love that. Mary Jane's sister is also into the images again, and I want to just go to this image and say that if you take this corner over here with these branches, and you remove that, if you could remove that, it is a beautiful composition. The fact that she's composed this tree like this tells that she's got a good eye. And there's something in this scene that I think it's the typical scene where we want to look behind this for where the line or the subject lies, or behind this tree. It just asks for the eye to actually look deeper into the image. It's not that all exposed like all the other images of the Kgalagadi, which like bright sun into it, and you can see. You want to look underneath that tree. The composition of the tree, by cutting it off there and to bundle it with the main subject, which is the sun, and that is very, very beautiful. And like I say, as someone that's eye has been trained to do that. This is another image of Mary, a lion, and I'll talk about that composition later on. Beautiful mirror reflection, and once again the discussion is about the background and the foreground. We've got a perfect mirror image, but we've got a very noisy, busy background all along this bird. Although you can see the bird, there are images where that they are sitting without any distraction. Fantastic light, clean backdrops, one curved C and another repetitive curved C at the bottom, camel thorn and some of the leaves framing the raptor. Beautiful. This is a typical image that one tend to in the beginning enter or you chase for, but it didn't work at all. The image of the portrait or the springbok on its own would have looked better, because it looks like the cheetah is mating with the springbok. It's not a stance that you predict in a hunt. I mean, although the super achievement of this is the fact that Louise Victor has actually captured the moment of impact, or just before the moment of impact, because look, the cheetah is still going for the throat. So a fantastic animal behavior image, and something one would like to put in the album of the range of the cheetah's behavior. But that's what happens. It happens so fast that you can't get that. But just imagine if that cheetah in the air was with the mouth over the throat. So we always see them chasing. We never see this impact image, and then we see them on the throat of the springbok again. So there's a lot still to be captured between this image and the image where the cheetah has got the springbok on the throat, and that's what people are going back and back and back and back to the Kgalagadi to actually get that shot. And I also wait to see that one day. Interesting images, the three images. If you can look at all the images, this three images of Laura Rousseau stands out in the fact that I can see that Laura misses a few technical points, but Laura's one of the few people that I can see that's got a specific style, and she understands patterns and shapes and leading lines and curves, and contrast like light and dark, shadow and brightness. She already's got that. I don't know if she knows that, but I can see a photographer that's got her own style, and I hope to God that no one's going to change that in some workshop and change the style and say that that's not, what is that actually all about? It's just branches in the bird. Or, there are tire tracks, for instance, in this image at the bottom that detracts from what she's trying to achieve with the shade, but it's a metaphoric visualization. That's what we call a metaphoric visualization. It could be you've got the tire tracks and you've got the shadow of the camel thorn over it, so it looks like or it could play with the whole subconscious thing that we all know, that in the Kgalagadi we tend to park the vehicle underneath the camel thorn tree that provides a shade. So to me this is metaphoric visualization. I don't know if she meant it like that, but to me it really means that. So you can look at the patterns of that three images and you can see. And that's one of the things that I'll discuss in a detailed video after this for the members, is how personal style and the signature type of images belong, images that you can pick up what the photographer is. If he enters this month and he enters next month, you should know that is the same photographer without looking at the name. And that's one of the things that we're heading with. Look at this interesting, beautiful shot of the cheetah at full speed. Look at that nails, how far that nail is detracting. That's probably 3 to 4 centimeters that it goes out there to get traction on but there's again once full frame, and then you got the springbok by the throat. Everything in between, which is what everyone's racing for, is out. So once again, this image, the contrast and everything is out. It's not been edited. So the behavior of this cheetah is beautiful, and this image over here to me is the best image if that was pin sharp and it was edited perfectly. The three thorn makes a beautiful pattern, and the fact that it's out of focus in front and behind, and just the cheetah maybe a bit too many bushes, but I think with editing, this is one of the finer compositions for this month if it was edited correctly. Now, here we've got black and white. You can see in this 2 rows, we've got the black and white images. I'll discuss the detail of that in the members video. But here you can look at those 3, and you can look at that one and that 2 over there. And I want to go quickly, besides this beautiful portrait of these 2 Cape Fox pups, I want to go to this image, and that's what black and white is all about. Mixler has entered a couple of landscapes again. Once again, he's probably the most constant. I've said it before. Entrant when it comes to landscape photography, and I think it's one of the photographers that I can ID his photos on every time that he enters. So there's a couple of things over that one and that one. It's the sharpness of this specific image that fails it. This one is a beautiful sharp, and that's how we remember or know the dry river rivierloop. The 3 thorns, which could be a bit distracting in the foreground for a perfect image, but you got this camel thorn tree with a sunset and that framing that camel thorns at the back there. Of course, the other mistake is I can pick up all the dirty sensor marks in a specific image, and this is the top one of you. Look at those colors. This image I want to discuss, this is just a capturing of a scene from a photographic point of view. The question is, what has the photographer done to make this work? You use the behavior of the animal, and if you use the behavior of the animal, you need to understand or have good editing capabilities and understand composition to actually play with the editing. This is an interesting behavioral photograph that a conservationist would look at and discuss the content of the springbok that's been left by most probably the cheetah, and what the tawny eagle is doing to that. So black and white, beautiful image. Beautiful image by Goni. Look at Goni Mayberg's landscape, also fantastic. Garatron has entered, once again, interesting, almost artistic renditions, and I'll discuss this in the next video. Once again, entered a absolute fabulous fine art composite image. This image, I just want to discuss something here. You got a beautiful black and white. I love the rendition. Look at the colors. It's got not all of the black and white range, but it's got most of them. But what you have here is you have this branch that actually goes right through the subject, and that completely detracts. One doesn't want that. If that branch led out towards that way, you would have had what we call a directional flow of an image. So you got the main direction would have been towards the right, because the bird looks towards the right, his head, the C curve of the mouth goes towards the right, but the counter C curve of the branch goes to the left and right across the bird. More about that in our tutoring sessions. Fantastic image depicting the Kgalagadi. Beautiful background, some action, and a lot of character. I love this. The small wildlife of the Kgalagadi needs more attention. We need to start concentrating on them. It's an absolute weakness that our photographers have got, is not to concentrate on the smaller things and then to get exceptional behavior of the smaller things. This is a typical Kgalagadi scene, and there's a lot of things. One, ask yourself the question, what are you trying to show in the picture, and where is it from? And here you can see the three thorn. You can look at the sand. The sand is not just below, it goes all the way to the back. So this is a typical Kgalagadi scene, no doubt about it. And you can quite clearly play back your memory, and that's what you see in the mornings, early and late afternoon, specifically when it's cooler. Dante Parisi has entered these images over here, and a beautiful capture of this Cape Cobra and the camel thorn tree hunting over there. It's beautiful to follow them and photograph them capturing this, but once again, a big no-no with the editing of this. Another beautiful image. This should have gone through, or could have gone through, if you take the main subject, which is the leopard. The absolute stare of that eye, you can see how open the eye is, and that butterfly, that African white over there, it looks like it's staring straight to the butterfly. The butterfly is almost pin sharp, but there's a lot of detracting branches and stuff over here that breaks with the image itself. It's still Kalahari, but I would have removed some of those bushes, but they may be a bit too much. And then the black and white rendition is not done well. It's got loads of room to improve, and as a matter of fact, the conversion detracts from the actual beauty of the image. This is a typical image that is a stock photographer's entrant. It is the wet line in the rain, and the facial expression of the line is not really something that you want to see of the line, except if the image is used specifically for what it reflects. I mean, the line is not really happy that his mane is all that wet. He doesn't look nice. He looks like someone that's just woken up and his hair's been washed, and it looks like he's pulling that face because of discontent of the rain. So a beautiful, funny image that belongs in a stock library for some business purposes. I'll discuss that. An image like this, although Brahim Holland calls this a startling discovery, and once again, it's a beautiful photo that belongs in a photo book or a group of photos where behavior of the Kalahari is discussed, and you can look at that jackal, the ears back, as if it doesn't know what to do further with this calf that's lying in the womb here that's been killed. So yeah, but it's too gruesome. No one wants to hang that on a wall. It's actually it's not the editing has not been done at all. So the image can be improved from a composition point of view, and that's not what one would like to look at on a wall. Beautiful image from Andres Roux. And that's it. And that gives us the first round that go through. Andres Roux, Dominique Maria, Edmund Elmer with 2, Francois Haroff with 2, Gerard Tron with 2, Gonnie Meiburg with 2, Hugh Mitchler with 2, Ilza de Wet, Johan Visser, Mary Jane Sesto, with 2 images over there, Michelle Slater, Pete Boyson, and Simon Smith. These are the honorable mentions, and now we unfortunately have to select the finalists for the month. And after going through, let me quickly, I've done those. Let me show you the ones that I haven't shown. Look at this image of Johan Visser, a beautiful capture of this Cape Cobra, capturing the bluffgeitjie, or the barking gecko, and with the ant biting the Cape Cobra. So a beautiful display. The cobra grabs the gecko and the ant grabs the Cape Cobra. From a compositional point of view, it's maybe a bit too in. It's only the head, but that's what happens with action like this. One tends to zoom in because you want the action. So I think the image should go much further if the editing and the colors were corrected on this image itself. Which others? I've spoken about that. Let's look at this fantastic image of Francois Haroff. ticks all the boxes. And then congratulations Dominique Maria, Edmund Elmer, François Aroff, Gerard Teron, Connie Mayberg, Hugh Mitchler for making the finals of the July 2021 Kgalagadi Wildlife Photography Competition. Quickly, if you look at this at a glance, you can look at the clear backdrops, you can look at the compositions in the form of color, of shapes, of leading lines, of patterns, and I've been through that. Let me show you this. Also metaphoric visualization in the form that you got this road. The color of this cannot be changed because that's the funny color that one gets with the sun shining into this thunder clouds after the rain and into the rain. So that's typically the color that one gets, and you can make a mistake to edit that to try and get that back to normal. So this is the exact color that it is, but the exception is you got the rainbow, the double rainbow that actually hits both sides of the road. So you have got this road basically driving right into this double sunset and disappearing into the pot of the rainbow at the bottom of the rainbow. Fantastic. So there we go. The finalist of the 2021 Kgalagadi Photography Wildlife Photographic Competition.